Have you seen the director of The Marvels is saying it is different from other MCU films since it is silly? She said silly and wacky. The reaction to the comment has been a bit overblown in my honest opinion, but it shows fans are sick of recent MCU projects being too lighthearted and want to see something different. Yes, I have absolutely seen these comments. In an interview, she was asked to talk about Marvel, and one of the things she said was she was talking about comic book movie fatigue. And in the quote, she said, I think that comic book movie fatigue is a real thing. The thing that makes our movie stand out is that it's wacky and silly. So she distinguished the Marvels from the rest of the MCU as being wacky and silly. And in the full quote, she goes on to kind of clarify that she's kind of talking about they go to all of these distant worlds and there's a lot of kind of crazy things that go on. So she clarified it in a certain sense where she was saying, but of course the headline is she said that the Marvels is wacky and silly as opposed to all the other Marvel films. I mean, the internet is always looking for things to pounce on and overreact to. So in that regard, I think, yeah, it's a bit overblown. But the comments feel very out of touch with where people are at in regards to the MCU. If you're watching this video right now, if you're me, you live in the space where you watch videos about movies and the conversations about them, and you're in the comments section, you're reading all the articles, and you know that over the last couple of years, one of the frustrations with Marvel movies is that some of them have gone just too silly, too meta, too goofy. And you look specifically at Thor: Love and Thunder, just not taking anything seriously. And then that's followed up with She-Hulk, which is overtly a silly comedy.
He almost tasted that. Num 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 num, eat it up.
And then that's followed up. Well, okay, that's followed up by Black Panther with Wakanda Forever. Not a silly movie, not a wacky movie. Oh, maybe the opposite problem. Maybe it's a little bit too serious. And then you have Quantumania that once again gets very silly, and there's a broccoli head character and stuff like that. Gets very goofy at times. A new director comes in and says, "The Marvels is wacky and silly," and you go, "That doesn't make you different. That's a continuation of the problem. We want less of that. A little humor is fun. We like that our Marvel movies can be serious but also tell a joke. We're not seeming as crazy about when it goes fully wacky and silly. So the movies that can balance that, those are the ones that we seem to like better. Other thing about this where a lot of people are disappointed is Nia DaCosta, her last movie was Candyman, the remake or continuation remake, which I had my issues with it, but like, it's a movie that directorially she did a great job with the film. She has a very specific, distinct style, not a silly and wacky film. It brought a certain, the Candyman franchise has always kind of been socially aware and has very pointed commentary in it. And that movie continued that legacy, commenting on modern issues. And we're not getting that director directing this movie. We're getting her silly and wacky side. So whatever it was that they went, oh, that was really cool what she did with this movie over here, they're not having her make that in the MCU. I don't know how much did she wanted to, or if she specifically wanted to go, whatever it is, we're not getting the thing that seemed interesting over here in the MCU. We're getting yet another silly and wacky project, except she thinks that's different. That's probably why people are overreacting, is like, wait, you think silly and wacky is fresh and new in Marvel? No, that's the thing that we're bothered by. That's the thing that we want to move away from. That's why the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 being so focused on animal cruelty was so refreshing. It was wonderful to see them go in this dark direction. Like, that was like the thing that was kind of like, okay, there's jokes in here, but it's also taking it very serious. It's a very dark film. Actually, last night, I had a buddy of mine texted me. He was finally watching Guardians 3 with his family. He's like, oh, man, it's really good. It's so dark, though. Neither one of my daughters want to finish watching it. There was a text they got last night. That's actually kind of what people do want from the MCU. And That was one of the things I liked at the beginning of Secret Invasion. It felt like we're getting something more serious, and by the end of it, it was wacky and silly. That's where people are overreacting. We're going, wait a minute. What do you mean silly and wacky? Why are we going silly and wacky? I always had this concern that it just felt like too lighthearted of a main plot line, and then she kind of confirms that as well. So I'm not encouraged by those statements. I assumed it based off the trailers and the tone that they sold the movie on, and then her saying it makes it feel like they're not really paying attention or listening to where audiences are at with the MCU and what's frustrating us. Most of these clips are pulled from my weekly Patreon live stream. Join at any level and you can join the chat and ask all the questions you want. That's for as little as $2 per month. For $5 per month, you can get your name on my end card. For $25 per month, you can have a monthly video chat with me. Link is in the description for more details, and keep talking movies and TV too much.